So the first step I'm doing is to prime Sejal's skin. I've used the Laura Mercier oil-free primer, and it's a water-based primer with no silicone. So the reason that we use a primer underneath the foundation is so that the foundation lasts longer and it actually looks better. The one that I've used doesn't contain any silicone, so it's not going to block Sejal's skin at all in any way. So if you can try and use a primer underneath your foundations, you will find a big difference in the longevity of your foundation as well. My next step is to take a little bit of the Laura Mercier Eye Basics in Tawny. Now you can see how that starts to take down the discoloration that's on her eye. Now we all have discoloration. It doesn't mean, you know, that none of us or some of us don't have discoloration. It just varies, but the Eye Basics is a particularly good primer because it's effectively an eye primer. You can use it by itself, but you can also obviously use it underneath foundations. Now it will just make sure that your eyeshadows and eyeliner adhere just a little bit better, and so that they will again last a little bit longer. So again, it's an eye primer similar to the one that you would put on your face. It's the same thing that you would need to put on your eye, and you can use that on a daily basis. Here what I'm doing is I've taken a little bit of the MAC eyebrow pencil in Stud, and I'm literally just penciling in just where Sejal's eyebrows are a little bit more sparse. She doesn't need that much colour. I mean, she does actually have her eyebrows tattooed, which they do look great, but they just need a little bit more colour when you are wearing such a strong eye makeup. So all I'm doing is just enhancing the shape that she's already got, strengthening up the colour, and just looking to see where there's any kind of sparse areas really. So that's just going to give us a basic shape. So I always do the eyebrows first so that we can start to see the shape of the eye, and I just tend to find that everything else kind of flows a little bit better from there. What I'm doing here is I've taken MAC's Orange, or Brick I think it's called, on a Laura Mercier Ponytail fluffy brush, and I'm putting that into the crease area. So I'm starting to build up this lovely warm colour that's going to be in the crease. If you do that before you put on your kind of darker colour, you'll find that it just flows a little bit better and it just looks better. It warms the whole thing up, and I find that it just tends to kind of look better when you start from the kind of crease as such, and then you sort of start to work with your darker colours. So my next step is to take a little bit of MAC's Black Ground Paint Pot. Now we've already discussed what look we're going for here. Sejal decided to go for a very smoky eye and some lovely bright pink lips. So again, what I did, as I did previously in my other tutorial with my other client, was to put the Black Ground Paint Pot down. The Black Ground Paint Pot will just act as a base for your eyeshadow and make the black just a little bit more intense, because sometimes on a deeper, darker skin tone, black can almost turn blue. So if you have a paint pot that's similar, or a grey colour, or even a gel liner that you can apply and just really, really blend out really, really well, you'll find that your black doesn't change colour, but it also sticks a little bit better and just looks more like a true black. What I'm doing here is taking a little bit of the Laura Mercier Creme eyeliner, and this one is a Noir, taking it onto an angled, a kind of kohl pencil, and I've just dipped it into the gel liner, popping that into the waterline so it starts to really kind of ground the eye and start to give us a little bit more definition. I find this really helps when I'm doing an eye makeup, especially if it's going to be a smoky eye, is to do this so that everything else kind of bleeds out from there. The colour starts to bleed from there and it seems to pull it all together. And so here what I'm doing is taking a little bit of the Laura Mercier Noir eyeshadow. This is a really good eyeshadow. It doesn't, again, go kind of blue or sort of like a kind of tinge of blue to it. It stays like a true black colour on the lids. And it's really pigmented. It stays on all day. and it's just a beautiful black colour. It's one of the most kind of black colours I know. I'm sure there's others out there, but this is by far the best one that I've used. Just taken a 217 by MAC, and I'm just blending that out really well so that everything is nice and soft. And what I'll continue to do is reapply the noir and flit between using a transitional colour so that everything again is just nicely blended and it is sort of like a gradient effect. So as you can see here, now what I'm doing is taking a brown colour. So we've started off with a really dark colour and now we're kind of progressing towards a slightly lighter colour. So going from black to using the dark browns to using a sort of mid brown and then using an orange sort of colour. So that's kind of how you create a gradient. So if you actually look at a gradient, you'll see it goes either from light to dark or dark to light. What you'll need to do is when you do any kind of eye colour, especially if it's going to be a kind of heavy eye colour, is reapply your colour and blend it away, and then reapply it and blend it away. That way you get the intensity from the colour, and you'll get the almost like an opaqueness as such. Sometimes what happens when you just apply once, you'll find that it almost kind of creates this almost like a wrinkle effect as such. You'll know what I mean if you've kind of worn smoky eyes before. But if you reapply the colour and blend and then reapply the colour, you'll find that it takes away that almost that wrinkledness as such, and it fills in all the kind of very fine lines that we tend to have on our eyes. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually starting to take the colours underneath now. So just by taking a little bit of the noir eyeshadow, I'm just asking Cedric to sort of look up towards the ceiling, and using a pencil brush, I'm applying that. So again, like I said in my previous tutorial, if you are doing a smoky eye, it's nice to replicate what you're doing on the top and then do it on the bottom, as that will give you that sort of hazy sort of smoky effect. As you can see there, it's made her eye colour pop just that little bit more. And here what I'm doing is taking a little bit of the NYX foundation in Olive 1. I've mixed a tiny bit of Illamasqua. Sorry, Sejal, it's not that much. It literally is just a slight squeeze of the Illamasqua foundation. It's a skin-based one in shade 13. It's just to give it a little bit more opaqueness to it, so that we get a little bit more coverage. So I'm just applying that. Obviously I've had my primer on before, so I'm just using a Real Techniques, I think it's an Expert Face brush by Sam Chapman, and I'm just using that on that brush just to really kind of push it into the skin and blend it. So again, just using it just to apply the colour and also just to kind of blend it out as well. So we're using quite a light application at first. So the next step that I'm doing now is just to use a little bit of concealer underneath the eyes. So I'm using the MAC Studio Finish in NW40, and I'm just using a 224 brush by MAC just to really softly blend that in, and just really keep it nice and clean and tidy underneath the eye. So I tend to use a 224 when I've done a lot of smoky work underneath the eye, so that it's not such a clean sort of crisp line. And as you can see, I'm just kind of taking it up into the corner, sort of the outer corner of the eye, just to make sure that there's no kind of harsh edges from the blending. The second thing that we will do is just to use the Laura Mercier Secret Camouflage palette in SC6, and that's just to take down any sort of redness or any blemishes that you have on your skin that sometimes the foundation can't really deal with. Foundation just about kind of, it does cover obviously if you are using a sort of fuller coverage, but sometimes it's mainly just there to kind of even out your skin tone and provide a little bit more coverage. So something like the Secret Camouflage by Laura Mercier is really good just to kind of pinpoint any blemishes and kind of any redness or anything that you want to kind of camouflage as such on the face. As you can see there, I'm just really kind of being precise with the brush. I'm actually using the Laura Mercier Secret Camouflage brush with it as well, It's an absolutely brilliant brush because it's very precise. And here I have used Laura Mercier translucent powder, and that's just to set the skin now. So we've applied everything, so our foundation, our concealer, and now we just need to use that just to set the skin. So it locks it into place, takes down the shine a bit, and it will stay like that for the rest of the evening now. So my camera cut out, my battery ran low. I think that's a sign for me to get a spare battery pack. All we did was just to finish off the lips with a little bit of Laura Mercier's lip colour in Plum Orchid and a bit of MAC Saint Germain lip colour just into the inner lip area, just to kind of give a little bit more of a kind of fuller lip. Hi guys, so this is the lovely Sejal. So what we've done here is we have created a smoky eye look with bright pink lips. I hope you liked it, guys. Take care. If you liked, give me a thumbs up and please press subscribe. If you would like to see more of these tutorials, just leave me a little message in the description box. A full list of the products will also be below. Do you like it, Sej?
I do.
Cool.
Love it.
Take care, guys. Happy Christmas.